Hello and welcome to Out of Mana, the video game podcast where we talk about games, consoles, and developers old and new, along with current events and other various topics. I'm Garrett.
I'm Ben.
And we are your co-hosts today, this Sunday.
November 1st.
November 1st, day after Halloween. Speaking of that, you do anything for Halloween, Ben?
I did. Not the usual Halloween stuff. I didn't get all dressed up or have a fun time trick-or-treating, but
No.
I went to a concert in Burlingame near San Francisco.
How'd that work?
It worked pretty well. It was basically a drive-in theater, bumps in the ground and everything. I pulled my truck up in there. My friends and I sat in the flatbed and we enjoyed the show.
Oh, cool.
It was a good show. It was Mark Rebillier. He's a DJ, kind of mixes his own stuff on the fly, and it's pretty cool.
Cool.
It's a good show.
How exactly did that work? So it's a drive-in. Did you just stay in your car?
So you're supposed to stay in your car. Not that anyone does.
Yeah.
It was basically like Burning Man. Everyone was running out of their cars and jumping around and coughing at each other.
No.
But so what we did is I have a truck, so I just set up the flatbed and made it nice and comfy. We sat there and enjoyed the show. It
Cool.
was a pretty pleasant time. It was pretty chill.
Nice. Where was that at?
That was in Burlingame near San Francisco.
Burlingame. Nice. I've been up there in a long time.
So how about you, Garrett? What did you do?
I didn't do anything as exciting as that. I just came over to a friend's house and we just watched a spooky movie.
Ooh, spooky. Which one?
It was called Cam. It's on Netflix. Not exactly a spooky movie, but
Cam sounds kind of spooky. Who knows what that could be?
It was like a psychological thriller, I guess you could call it.
Those are the best kind.
Yeah. I thought it was very good. Very interesting concept. And it was a good movie to watch for the day.
It sounds good. I'm going to check that one out.
Yeah, I watched it with my good friend Eric here, who's actually going to be joining us for a segment of this.
Yeah, so Eric is my housemate actually too,
Yes.
and he is our resident Nintendo fan, so we are going to interview him today about Nintendo.
Yeah, we haven't been talking about too much Nintendo apart from maybe the Super Mario.
And the Animal Crossing.
A little bit of Animal Crossing.
Forget those Animal Crossing.
But Eric's been playing Nintendo games since day one,
He was basically born on a Nintendo, and yeah, they had to pull him out the cartridge, and he knows everything you can think about Nintendo, and then some.
Yeah, we're excited to have him on. So, what have you been playing recently? Anything new?
I have actually been playing something new. I just bought the new Subnautica Below Zero.
Okay.
And because they just released an update for it, and I was really stoked when I saw that update, because it looked really clean and complete. It's still in early access, but I've been playing it. I played about 6 hours of it now, and let me tell you, it's good.
Okay, so you say it's an update. Now, does that mean it's a new game, or is it an expansion?
So when I say update, they released an update for this new game. So Subnautica Below Zero is its own game.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people thought it was an expansion pack. It plays just like the original Subnautica, but it is a new game all in of its own.
Okay. Oh, okay. So Below Zero has already been out. They just...
It was, I think it came out... It's 2019, so it's been in early access.
Okay.
So now it's in late access, I guess you could put it.
Okay, cool.
And it's looking great. They just released a new update for it in October, and it looked really good. They completed a lot of the story elements, a lot of the voice acting, and they updated a lot of assets in the game, including adding some really cool monsters. But the point being is that I finally bought it. I finally went ahead and bought it. It's a great price, by the way. It's very cheap for what it is. And yeah, I've been playing the hell out of it for the past couple of days and loving it. Nice.
I remember you really enjoyed the first Subnautica the original Subnautica.
That was, just like we've been saying with Hades, that was like a religious experience. I've always wanted to enjoy a survival game, and I never quite could. Mm-hmm. So Subnautica was the first time I played a survival game, and I was like, wow, I actually want to come back and play this. I actually feel like there's a reason to play this. There's a point.
So what made the difference?
It was kind of a mix between the story elements, because Subnautica has these very light story elements, at least the original did, and it's kind of like you walk in a room and there's a puzzle over the floor, and you start walking around finding the pieces and you putting them together, and you're like, wow, look at this picture I'm finding. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what it was like, and it worked really well. And then on top of that, it's just the sheer uniqueness of the game. Mm-hmm. Like, it's an underwater explorer game, which there's not a lot of those. There's not a lot of games like that feature underwater worlds that you can explore and find mysterious things and the horrifying creatures that live within them.
I guess that's the exciting thing about it, is that our Earth's ocean is one of the most mysterious places on Earth.
It really is, but Subnautica is not set on the Earth. Subnautica is set on an alien planet.
Oh, okay.
And that gives it the complete freedom it needs to go do whatever the hell it wants.
That's true.
And they do. They really do. And there's a lot to that game. And if you haven't played the original Subnautica, I just play it. It's scary as shit, but it's so good, and there's a lot to it, and I mean, it's cheap, and you will get plenty of play hours out of it. And now the new expansion is they take the original Subnautica and they just put it kind of in a new area. Now it's below zero. I did air quotes with that, and that means you've got like glaciers and ice covering the ocean now, and there's a lot more danger because of that.
Is it on a new planet or is it on the same planet?
I think it's on the same planet because it features a lot. I didn't exactly verify that, but it features a lot of the same elements that the original game had, which I believe are unique to that planet. So yes, I would say it's on the same planet.
Okay. I remember I watched you play the original for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm not a survival game fan at all. Something about it just stresses me out and I just don't enjoy it. But watching you play that made me interested. I never got it. I enjoy watching those kind of games. I enjoy watching streamers play that, our friends watch it, opposed to actually doing it myself, because it is, like you said, so entertaining and so surprising and terrifying. It's almost more fun to see the player's reaction to what's happening than experiencing it yourself.
It is a perfect game for reacting, and it's really fun to watch. I can definitely get that part. I was getting my housemate who we're going to interview, I was getting him to play the original a little bit, and he could only get so far because it's a whole entity on its own. Like, Subnautica's tough because it is a survival game. It is very scary. If you don't like, I think they call it thalassophobia, which is the fear of dark water, I think, where you can't see the bottom, where you can't see around you.
I definitely have that.
I think it's a pretty human trait, because I have that too, but I love it. Like, I love the sensation of the fear, because you get in some parts in the game where you're just surrounded by darkness on all sides and you hear these things.
It makes me think of a lot of different video games where just being in the water is a terrifying thing. Like, the first thing that comes to mind is Jak and Daxter.
Yes.
Where you're in the water, and then what does it do? Is it like a heartbeat?
And it jumps out of the water and just gets you.
Yeah. I guess even in the Mario games, there's the fish that comes and gets you if you land in the water.
Yeah.
On some of those water levels, he jumps out and gulps you up.
Water stuff in video games can be so creepy, and a lot of games don't do them really well. Resident Evil 4 had a really good one too. I think there's a boss in the lake, and when you go to the lake, and if you fire your gun at the lake, I think enough times, it will ram the dock you're on and eat you.
That's terrifying.
It's scary as shit. And I remember like being as a young kid playing that and being like, holy crap, water is scary. And then Subnautica comes along, and it's like, now we're going to take that fear, we're going to give you a world to explore within it, and a lot to do.
It's nice to hear that there's an underwater game that's actually fun to play, because typically underwater levels are the ones that everyone hates in video games, because
exactly.
Traversal is really annoying.
Yep.
It's always difficult. You're either having to worry about oxygen, or the movement's just so awkward that you just can't avoid the enemies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it feels good in this game?
It feels really good. The controls are really smooth. The swimming is really smooth. Everything feels really smooth. So they've kind of I would dare say they perfected it almost, where you feel comfortable playing in the water.
Nice.
And there's some there's some terrestrial areas where you go on the land, and they honestly feel kind of weird, because you're like so used to being in the water that being on land, so you're like, oh man, I can't go up.
You spent so much time in the water.
So it's a really great series. Like, Unknown Worlds is the developer, and they've done just a fucking bang job. Like, really, really good. And the new game is great. It is really good. I've only played, again, like 6 hours of it. There's plenty more for me to play, and it's still in early access. But so far, it's been really good. They've added basically all new creatures. So the original game had a slew of monsters to encounter, and little creatures and little fish. And in this game, they've taken all those and they've made them into new ones. So now you have new things to encounter and new horrors to behold.
It's pretty spooky.
It's spooky, and it's really good. And it's actually harder than the original game, if I have to say.
Oh, really?
The original game's hard. Like, again, it's a survival game, so you will dehydrate, you'll starve to death, all that good stuff. But this game, they give you a lot of resources, but I've died a lot more times in this new expansion than I have in the original game.
Interesting.
So it's mostly because of the ice, because I'll be paddling underwater like a happy little child, like the Nirvana baby, like underwater, and then suddenly I go for air and there's ice above my head.
And you can't get out?
I can't get out. So then I just bang on the ice for a second before I pass away.
Do you have like a pick where you can break through the ice, or no?
No. You know what? That's actually a good thought, Garrett. I wonder if they'll incorporate that. Maybe it already is in the game. I don't know, but
just haven't gotten to it yet.
The ice is unbreakable as far as I can tell. It looks like it's just a static object you can't interact with, but it definitely has killed me. And there's ice caverns, because there's big glaciers, and you can go to these fissures in the ice and explore around, and pretty soon I'll be exploring and I get distracted, and then suddenly Jesus comes and takes me back. And yeah, then I have to go again.
Oh man, that sounds so scary.
It's scary. And then there's so Subnautica 1 had this, and now Subnautica Below Zero has it. It is the Void. I mean, I think the developers call it the Abyss, but it's basically the end of the world. So you have the explorable world, and then you have the Abyss at the end of it, which is exactly the name it sounds like. It is just an abyss. So you're swimming, and then suddenly you realize, where'd all the fish go? Why am I alone? Like, and you keep on swimming, and suddenly you realize that there's nothing beneath you. There's just thousands and thousands of meters of nothingness beneath you, and hundreds of meters above you, and nothing around you, and then you hear something.
Oh my gosh, there's actually things out there.
There are actually things out there. So they call it so it's the Abyss. It's where the Leviathans live.
Oh my god.
And so the original game had it, and holy crap, when I first discovered that, I basically filled my diaper if I had one. And then you have the Abyss in this game, and so I was like, I got out there, I was trying to find the end of the world. I was actively trying to find it, and I kind of was stopped paying attention, and then suddenly I was there, and I looked around, and I realized I was alone, and there was nothing around me. And then I heard it, and then I saw it, and then I was gone.
So is it just a design to like? There's nothing out there. It's just kind of like a fun.
It's basically it's basically like without putting a invisible barrier. It is the barrier to the end of the game.
I love when video games do that, where they don't, because you'll have some video games where you're walking, and then it's just like a hard block where you just can't go through,
Oblivion.
or you go out there, and then the game's like, you shouldn't be going this way. And
you can't go that way. Turn back.
Yeah, it either automatically turns you around, or it kills you if you're out there for too long.
Or it could be like World of Warcraft. Oh, fatigue.
Yeah, you start fatiguing,
dude,
until you die. That was also a clever way to do it.
That was better than some. I mean, again, like Oblivion, where you just stop. You can't go that way. Turn back. It's like, I don't want to turn back. I want to go.
I know. I want to keep climbing over this mountain. I can see all these things over there.
Yeah, I can see all this LOD. I want to go find out. And in Subnautica, you can actually kind of go pretty far up, but you will be removed from existence.
It's like guaranteed.
I mean, there are videos of people getting past it with certain equipment in the game, but you're basically going to die. Like it's Dark Souls out there. You're gonna die, and it's scary. So once you get over the fear, it's cool. But like at first, it's terrifying. The Abyss is the Abyss, and it stares back.
So, note to anyone who's playing this, maybe not go to the Abyss right away in case you want to get devoured.
I would stick to the reefs and the shallow areas just to enjoy the game first before you fill up your diapers. You only have so many of them.
So you mentioned that the new, not expansion, but the new game, it has more story elements than the original.
The story elements are more like, they're more hard. So like you start the game and your character has a name and a voice. Okay. In the original game, your character was kind of this. It was basically like a Bella from Twilight, where you could kind of make her whatever you wanted to be. And except it was a male character, but it was whoever you wanted to be. In this game, your character has a name. Her name is Robin, and she is going to the planet because her sister was a scientist on the planet, and she's lost on the planet. So the drive of the game is to find your family member. Okay. And so it kind of drives everything you do, because Robin will actually make commentary. She'll interact with the world. It makes the game a lot more like, the story's a lot harder set. And there's actual NPCs in the story you can interact with, as opposed to the original game when everyone was just dead. Okay. So this one the story is a lot more fleshed out. It feels a lot more dynamic and alive, as opposed to the first game when it was like I mentioned, the puzzle pieces on the ground, you were just putting them together. In this game, you're still kind of doing that, but you have actual like dialogue and stuff to go with it. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds a lot more attractive to me, because I did see the trailer and it seemed more like a quote unquote game. Yeah. I'm saying that only because it's like it has a narrative drive to it.
The developers have definitely, I think they know what they're doing this time. Like they already had a great run the first time, but this time they decided to go with a more solid storyline instead of just kind of an ambiguous one. Cool. And it's good. It's really good. I'm loving it so far, and I'm really excited to go play more. I actually want to go play right now.
You mentioned that it was pretty cheap, right?
It was. I forget the price. I think it was $25.
I was gonna say, if I remember correctly, it's definitely under $30.
For $25, again, like we said with Hades, it's a solid buy. Like I was considering buying Baldur's Gate 3, and then I saw the new update for this game. I was like, man, I really want to play new Subnautica.
Yeah, you love the first one.
And then I looked at the price of Baldur's Gate 3, which I will probably end up buying anyway, but I saw $60 compared to $25. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go for Subnautica. And I did, and I'm loving it.
I was going to say, I think Subnautica was the game that got you out of your video game funk, where your hiatus.
It helped a lot. It did help a lot. That was, I mean, when I first played the original Subnautica a while back, that was quite a while back. But it helped a lot. And it was I mean, I enjoyed it. It was the game that stuck with me.
Mhm.
Like I'll see things in real life and I'm like, oh, that's kind of like Subnautica. That reminds me of Subnautica. I remember when like I felt that in Subnautica. Like, and now I got a new Subnautica to play and I'm super stoked.
Good. Well, it seems like it's a good time for games right now because especially like with Hades, I'm surprised you were able to find another game to distract you from that. Because oh my gosh,
It's weird. Like I didn't think Hades would be able to be distracted from, and yeah, Subnautica's doing a good job. But
Yeah.
I'm still playing Hades too. I mean, I'm not gonna. I would never cheat on my Bay Hades. So.
I know. I'm still enjoying that game.
Yeah.
Avoiding talking about it this time. That's all we're going to talk about Hades
Yeah.
this episode.
We will do a Hades spoiler cast. And
yes, it is coming.
that will be all about Hades because Hades deserves its own.
Yeah, we were going to do it in between the last podcast and this one, but we've been playing more and realizing that there's still so much more to dissect from that game.
There's so much more.
Like, we haven't even quote unquote beaten the game yet. So
it goes on and on and on and on, just like Gladys Knight. So Subnautica aside, how about you, Garrett? What have you been doing?
Yeah, so I think we mentioned it on the last episode that I went and found that Guitar Hero controller.
Oh, yeah. How was that going?
At Goodwill. So I ordered the adapter that I needed to. It's like the Wii plug. I don't know what you would call it. Whatever you use to plug the Wii into the.
It's an adapter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I bought an adapter so I could plug it into my computer, basically. And if you didn't listen to the last episode, there's a program called Clone Hero, or an application, I guess you could call it, a game.
It's quite the hot item right now.
Yeah. And it's basically playing Guitar Hero on your computer. So it's technically an emulator. Someone made it in the Unity engine, and you can download any pack of songs that you want. You can get like any of the Guitar Hero games.
You can basically source from any of the rhythm games of that time period, right?
Yeah, there's
Guitar Hero, Rock Band, basically anything, right?
Yeah, that and anyone else has made. It's one of those things
you can
like
get custom ones.
Yeah, custom charts for custom songs.
You don't have to pay $60 for the Beatles expansion, so you can actually have all of your Hey Jude stuff.
Exactly. There's like a nice spreadsheet you can find if you're a part of this Discord. If anyone is curious about Clone Hero or wants to join it, let me know.
Or if they just want to check it out, because Garrett has been posting a lot about it, and his stuff is cool. It's looking really good.
I'm excited to like share this. I might start streaming it. Oh yeah, speaking of that, we made a Twitch channel. Yeah, we made a Twitch channel for Out of Mana.
This is our segue into it.
Yeah, it's the title of it is Out of Mana Plays. Unfortunately, Out of Mana was taken, so we'll have to take care of that.
You can only be so unique, you know. I mean, we'll have them rubbed out. Don't worry, we'll get the Dark Brotherhood on this.
So we're hoping to start playing games on there. I'm going to start streaming Clone Hero once I get the whole stream set up, figured out.
I'd like to actually stream the new Subnautica. Once it's released fully, which I think is going to be very soon, I'll probably start streaming that.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because like we were saying, it's like the perfect stream game.
It is.
So we'll be doing probably Clone Hero, Subnautica, Hades, probably.
More than likely Hades, so you guys can watch my fails.
Yeah, and because there's so much about that game.
So
Anyways,
the monsters return.
And then just along with other stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun place to share our gameplay with you guys.
We would love to have you guys watch if you want to. I mean, because it will be a good time for all of us.
Yeah, and then even from there, we might start creating content for our YouTube channel. That
Yep.
Some of you may be listening on YouTube right now.
Yep.
And if you are, thank you. We're super happy that you found our YouTube channel.
YouTube's a lot more accessible, so we're glad you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, we've actually been doing really well on there.
Yeah.
I think we got more.
Comparatively, yes.
We got more. We're getting more views on our videos than the actual podcast, like the spread of all podcast platforms, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. So we're happy to be on YouTube. Excited to do video soon.
Yep.
Anyways, back to Clone Hero after that plug for ourselves.
So yeah, do tell.
Yeah. So as I was saying, there's like a Google Sheets where you can get a download link to pretty much every Guitar Hero game, every Rock Band game, even like Band Hero and stuff like the game that no one played.
Yeah, the one that what game was that again?
I was gonna say I think I played every rhythm game on that list except for maybe Band Hero and
don't forget about Violin Hero and Harpsichord Hero.
Yeah, I did play DJ Hero and that. Oh god, I loved DJ Hero. That was so good.
Can you get stuff from that?
So
too?
there is a DJ Hero pack.
Ooh.
And people made guitar charts for it.
Ooh.
So I think there is a type of DJ Hero compatible version of this somewhere. I'm not 100% sure on that. If I randomly find a DJ Hero turntable at a Goodwill, I will probably buy it.
I'm sorry, Garrett. I've actually seen them and I didn't realize you wanted them. So I will now Keep that in mind.
I think we saw some when we were evacuated.
Yeah.
There was like 2 of them at that one.
Yeah,
Goodwill.
they were just sitting there
They were
waiting.
just sitting there.
We were
and-
unaware.
Oh gosh, I had
So-
no idea.
How are you doing on Clone Hero? Is it like the old days? Are you at expert yet, or are you having to work your way back up? Is it like riding a bike?
Kind of. It's like riding a bike to the point where, I played so much of that game that there's still a lot of muscle memory left. The only problem is like I forgot how much of a tax it is on your fingers to like cramp them in that like position and having to move them quickly.
So you're at your 26-year-old fingers instead of your 16-year-old fingers?
I don't know if something happened, but man, it feels like I'm slow.
Carpal tunnel.
It almost feels like it. They were aching afterwards. I think I just got to get my agility back there.
Oof.
But I mean, some of my scores were pretty good.
Have you scored top yet?
No.
Are you on expert?
I'm doing expert. I just
Good boy.
Yeah, I'm
Good.
still playing expert. All the songs I've played, I've gotten like on almost all of them, except for the hard ones, like at least 90% accuracy or more on them. So
Sweet.
I still got it. I've still been playing rhythm games for a long time.
What's your hottest song? What's your jam?
The one I had to go to was Beast and the Harlot by Avenged Sevenfold,
Oh,
just because it's
yeah.
like that one rocks so hard, and it's like it was like a stamina test because it's going the whole time. It's just like afterward, I think I got 95% accuracy on that one. So I was
On your first time?
on my first try. So
Damn,
I was super happy with that.
It is like riding a bike then.
Yeah.
Garrett's basically like he was like the unicycle rider of Guitar Hero. He was good. Like I would be playing it and I'd be like banging my hand against like I basically had clubbed fingers when I played that game. And Garrett meanwhile comes in with his piano fingers and dances and plays it like a god.
Well, there is hours and hours and almost I could say years of practice.
There were a lot. Yeah, I do recall some of that.
But yeah, it's been a really good time. I've only maybe played like 20 songs so far. So my goal is I want to play through Guitar Hero 1, 2, and 3. I want to go through
So you're basically going to go through the songs?
I'm going to go through all the songs, and my goal is to get 5 stars on all of them.
I bet you can't wait for Freebird.
I scroll past it, and I'm like, do I want to...
Freebird. I already hear that on the radio enough. I don't need to play it.
It's a lot of songs. So in the original Guitar Hero, you could get graded 1 to 5 stars.
Yep.
To get 5 stars, you didn't have to get 100%. You just had to like score really well and use your star power well. In Clone Hero, it actually goes up to 7 stars. So 7 stars is like almost 100%. Like the only times I got 7 stars were 97% accuracy or more. The only way to basically cheese to get into 7 stars is using your star power really well. There's been a lot of times where I was like so close to 7 stars. I could see like the millimeter amount. I'm like, come on, last note, get into the 7, and it didn't go.
And then, you missed it.
Yeah, so the goal right now is to get at least 5 stars on all the songs. That's going to be kind of hard for songs like.
It's going to be good for some streaming.
Yeah, so that's what I want to do. Is I want to do a stream where I'm just playing through all the songs, and you can watch me either excel or struggle at some of these songs.
It'll be like playing through Oblivion with no hits.
Oh my god, it's going to be a good time. So keep an eye out on our social medias. Primarily Twitter, most likely, is when I will announce when I'm going to be streaming Clone Hero. So our Twitter is pod out of mana, POD out of mana. It's the same thing for our YouTube as well.
Yep.
And our Instagram. So pretty much all the social media is there.
We're trying to keep consistent.
Yeah, we're trying to be consistent. We're trying to post more. It's a learning curve. And just trying to get more fun content to show you guys.
So Clone Hero, is there anything more to mention about? Like, is star power the same? Like, does it work the same way?
It actually does.
So I remember star power was kind of weird. And is it like that still?
Yes. You can tilt the guitar.
Did you have to like jack it up and be like, yeah?
Yeah, you got to do the whole thing. I haven't figured that out on my guitar yet.
Oh.
Because you have to like map your guitar.
Okay, do you have a different button for it then?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
The guitar that I have has a button right below the strum bar that you just press with your palm.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. It's been like the bane of my existence. Because you want to use star power at the best spots where the most notes are. And so I'm trying to activate it right before a big like stream of notes. But I end up messing it up.
That was always my issue on Guitar Hero. I try to activate it and then I miss everything. And I was like, why am I doing this?
And I'll be tilting it and nothing's happening. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not how it works. I have to press this button with my palm.
Yeah.
And of course it's like, it's a secondhand guitar, so it's like a little sticky. It's like not.
It's been loved. It's been loved with sticky Cheeto fingers.
I cleaned it the best I could without tearing it apart right now. But I mean, I'm just happy that it works. It actually works quite well. I haven't had any issues with it. But yeah, I try to activate the star power and then I end up dropping my notes, and then that's There was one song where I literally almost 100% it, but I jacked it up at that last, trying to get that star power, and I missed a note. I'm like, oh.
Don't you love when the thing was supposed to get you 7 stars, get you none?
Yeah, it gets me right below it.
So what about the whammy bar? Is that still a thing?
It actually does, yeah. So you can, there is a mapping for that. And
Sweet.
I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to figure that out because it was like whammy plus, whammy negative. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to BS this and hope this works. And it worked. So
and it worked. Cool.
Everything still works. It's pretty amazing, except I haven't figured out the tilting thing.
Are you tilted from that?
I am very tilted from that because I really badly just want to tilt my guitar, but I don't know if this one has it because I didn't have the Wii guitar.
I don't know about the Wii guitars. Maybe that's something we'd have to ask Eric because he's all into the Wii.
He might know the answer. Coming soon.
He might know the way. Speaking of which,
yeah, I think it's about that time. You think so?
I think so.
All right, so we are now switching over to Nintendo Cast.
Yes, we are going to roll him out of his cage.
Roll up, come one, come all.
And here we have Eric.
Introducing Eric, our Nintendo insider.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we're glad to have you here, dude.
So, let's just get started with asking, how did you start getting in games?
What's your origin story?
So my first memory with video games was actually watching my mom play A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo.
Oh, your mom played?
Yeah, my mom actually played Zelda,
Wow.
and I'd watch her play it, I'd watch my older sisters play it, and eventually, once we got more games, I started with Donkey Kong Country. That was the first video game that I ever played.
It's a classic.
It is, yeah, I really love that one. And from there, it went on to the N64, which our aunt and uncle got us. And probably my favorite game from my childhood was Donkey Kong 64,
Ooh.
which I played a lot of, and including Ocarina of Time as well. That was another big game that I grew up with. And it was always Nintendo. Like, we never had a PlayStation or an Xbox growing up. It was just always Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, I've always seen you as the Nintendo guy, so that all makes sense.
I mean, as a child, it wasn't really a matter of choice. I didn't really ask for other gaming systems. And as I grew older, I just never had much of an interest in owning those games. I did play a little bit of other things, like obviously once, Halo became popular, I would play Halo at a friend's house, or I'd watch my friends play Final Fantasy or stuff like that, but as a kid, I never really ventured outside of Nintendo.
Nurtured with Nintendo, just, your Gerber baby food.
So have you had all the Nintendo consoles since SNES?
The only one I didn't have was the Wii U, but that's because nobody had the Wii U.
Who the hell bought that?
What's a Wii U?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All those poor games trapped on Wii U. I mean, we're lucky that some of them are getting ported over to the Switch.
the majority of them.
Yeah, isn't it Pikmin 3 from the Wii U?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for that one more than any of the others, because Pikmin, despite being not a major Nintendo title, is a series which I loved as a kid. I was obsessed with it as a kid. And because I never owned a Wii U, I never got to play Pikmin 3 the first time around. I only got to play it at a friend's house.
But you played a lot of the original, I know that.
Yes, I played a lot of the first Pikmin and the second Pikmin.
Especially the second one. I see you playing that all the time.
That is probably the best one in the franchise, in my opinion.
You think so?
I realize that's probably going to stir up some conflict.
Why?
There's a lot more content in the game. In the first game, you just have the 30 ship parts to collect.
But is that better?
I think it is, because it's not like shoehorning in more content for no reason. There's a lot more areas to explore. There's a lot more boss fights. There's a lot more nuance to the game, because you also have 2 captains to control, so it adds more dynamic to the game. You're not just controlling Olimar. You have Louie, and you can, I remember one boss fight, you actually have to use both captains simultaneously and keep switching between them in order to beat the boss.
Kind of neat.
Yeah, that's tough.
And they also added the artifacts in that game too, right?
Yeah, there's artifacts and there's treasures, and there's 2 new types of Pikmin that you have to learn about, and you know their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, the white ones and the
purple ones.
Purple ones,
yeah.
Of course.
There's a lot more strategy to the game, and that's what Pikmin is best known for, is because it's a real-time strategy game. You have a certain amount of time to do a certain number of tasks. You have to manage your time, manage your resources, and basically figure out what... It's a game all about planning, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I remember in the first game seeing the 30-day time limit. I remember my neighbor having a tantrum because she couldn't complete the game.
Was I your neighbor? Because that was me.
That was no. This was before you. This is before you, Gary.
I was so stressed out by that timer when I realized that I had to not have time to think about this. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not going to beat this game.
Yeah,
and I never did because it was too stressful.
It was dramatic, seeing, because you're a kid and you're like, oh, I'm going to complete this in 30 days, and you sure as hell don't. But I mean, I assume that was not so bad for you, Eric, right?
Well, at the start, the first time I played the game, it was really, really stressful, but the more I played, the better I got at managing my resources and figuring out, okay, here's how to get this, here's how to get this. And once you figure out the basics, it's actually not super hard to get everything and still have time left.
Pikmin's kind of a boys to men thing. You know, it brings us to the next stage in life where you realize time is of the essence.
Yes.
It really is a good... Now that I think about it, like having that game on a Nintendo platform where it's mostly for kids.
Because before that, Majora's Mask is the one that slapped you in the face and said, guess what, you failed.
Oh my gosh, Majora's Mask is on a whole new level.
I mean, I know you love Majora's Mask, Eric.
That is a very interesting game. And I think it's a pure coincidence that both games involve time limits, because I actually don't like having a strict time limit. Mm-hmm. But Majora's Mask is really interesting because as opposed to Ocarina of Time, which is like 90% story and then maybe 10% like side quests and bonus stuff.
Yeah.
Majora's Mask is a pretty even balance of like, okay, here's the story, but if you want to be good at the story, you also have to do all these optional side quests. You have to do all the side quests that, you know, you're not going to know to do them unless it's
sure as hell
pointed.
don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that game doesn't show you anything. I mean, if I didn't have Eric with me, I wouldn't have been able to finish that game. He was basically the angel over my head going, you have to go here, you have to go here. And I would be like, how would I know that without you?
I wish I could say I even tried at that game because I had Ocarina of Time on the N64, I think. I mean, you know what? I may not even own that. I may have borrowed it
remember, Ocarina of Time had the gold cartridge with the holographic surface. It was basically a Charizard card.
Did all of them have that?
I believe so, right, Eric?
I don't think Ocarina of Time did. I know Majora's Mask did. Majora's Mask was the gold cartridge.
I'm sorry, if I'm saying Ocarina of Time.
Oh,
yeah. No,
it is Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask had the gold cartridge with the holographic surface. It was basically like a special edition.
Yeah, I never had Majora's Mask. I don't like stressful games. Like again, that's like why I don't like survival games.
Yeah.
Or anything that involves even horror games for the most part. I have a few exceptions for horror games that I have gotten through.
Resident Evil 2 on the N64 is one of my favorites.
I had it on PlayStation 2, and that's my first introduction to horror games, actually.
Classico.
But okay, did you play any handheld games, Eric?
On that topic, I could go on and on about Pokemon.
Basically, what didn't you play?
Yeah, I mean, I owned almost all the handheld. I had a Game Boy, you know, the Game Boy Advance, the Nintendo DS, the 3DS, and now the Switch is both, so I have both the home console and the handheld console this gen.
What about the SP?
Oh, I had that as well. I mean, it was a Game Boy Advance, it was just a different model of the Game Boy Advance.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I had the SP. I think that was the only handheld... Well, okay, I had the SP, and then I had the Nintendo DS, and then I had a 3DS for a short while, and then I had got like one game on it. I bought it because I wanted to play like one game. And then like...
You guys are all way ahead of me. You're all like Xenon to me, because basically I had the Game Boy original, I had the Game Boy Color, I had the Game Boy Advance, like the original Advance, and that was it.
So with the advanced games, I never had one of those, but I think it was the Nintendo DS, which let you play Game Boy Advance games in it.
Yes, it did.
And that's how I thought that was the coolest thing. Like, talk about a great way to have backwards compatibility.
You can play Kirby Tumble on that, like awesome. Sweet.
I think I played like the Spyro and Crash like mashup game.
God.
I don't remember what it was called, but there was two different ones. There was the one where Spyro was on the cover, and then there was one where Crash was on the cover, I think. Two different games. It's almost kind of like the Zelda games, what are those ones on the island? There's the two different ones.
Oh yeah, what's the one I got you for Christmas?
Oh, that was Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening.
There's Link's Awakening, and what's the other one? There's Time of Seasons, the Seasons one.
Oh, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons.
Those are the two I'm thinking of, yeah.
Of course. See, this is why Eric's here, because we're like, and he just knows it immediately.
So my Nintendo, even though I grew up on Nintendo, I feel, what's the word for it? Just like oblivious to all the information that
Nintendo's a deep ocean, and if you're not swimming that ocean from the get-go, like Mr. Game & Watch here, then yeah, you're not gonna know it.
So Eric, you've been talking a lot about the classic games. What new games have you been playing?
Mostly I've really been playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. I mean, I've been playing that game almost every single day since release date, way back in March. It's the kind of game where you kind of have to play it every single day, but even if you don't, you still enjoy it, because it's a game that plays without you. I mean, that's how it was advertised way back in the day on the GameCube. Advertised as a game that plays whether or not you're playing.
Yeah, I remember the cockroaches and the weeds.
Oh, yes. It's a game that changes with the seasons, with the days. Things happen whether you're playing it or not. So you want to participate in the game because it's a game that goes on without you.
And I feel like it's one of the few games that does that.
It really does. Like, that game will leave you in the dust and then some, and then it will scold you for not being there.
I think my girlfriend has been like, I haven't been on for so long, and I'm afraid to go there because all my villagers are going to hate me or they're going to be gone.
Oh, the villagers are going to like Children of the Corn. Oh yeah, they'll confront you and grab you and scold you and chide you. It's bad. So Eric, you played all the Animal Crossings, right? You played from like the get-go from GameCube to win.
I think the only one I didn't play was Wild World on the DS because I didn't have that game, but I played the original on the GameCube. I played City Folk on the Wii.
City Folk, wow.
That
City
existed? I didn't know. Interesting.
That was an interesting one. And then there was New Leaf on the 3DS, which was insanely popular.
New Leaf was the classic most people have, yeah.
Yeah, most people remember New Leaf. And then, of course, now you have New Horizons, which exploded in popularity, mostly due to the pandemic. It
was almost planned. The plandemic for New Horizons.
Nintendo was behind it all
wee
along.
Wee woo. Okay, Eric, so what do you think about New Horizons? Like, what are the nuances and the little things you love about it?
So my favorite thing about New Horizons is that there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot more stuff in terms of like now you have crafting recipes. Now you can actually create items as opposed to waiting for them to show up in the store. You know, you have to collect different recipes, and some of them go for a lot of money if you're trying to trade them with people online, whether it's in a Facebook group, whether it's in a Discord group. I don't really participate in that much all that often, but I see a lot of stuff of people saying like, oh, I would really like this golden something recipe. Can anyone trade that to me? And they're like, oh, I'll give it to you for like 20 million bells or 20 real world dollars.
What?
So
you're telling me that people pay real money for that stuff?
People pay real money. I have seen Facebook sponsored advertisements selling Animal Crossing in-game items and the opportunity to have villagers move into your town. It is insane.
What?
Yes.
Man, I want to be Kermit here. Jeez.
Is this the first Animal Crossing game where this is possible?
I think it was possible in New Leaf, but it didn't really happen to that much extent. It wasn't that widespread as it is now.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of social media stuff involving that and then some, I guess. So, are you a turn-up like mogul in the game?
That is the one aspect of the game that I don't really play that well because it's basically gambling, you know.
Gambling?
You can kind of predict the market because there are different trends that you can follow, but predicting the market is kind of tough, and you have to have a huge number of bells to begin with to make that investment and then be able to make sure that you get back what you paid and then some.
So it's a turn-up stock market?
Essentially, yes, and it's a pun on stock market, STALK, stock market.
Oh my gosh, it's a stalk market.
It's a stalk market. The turn-up stalk market.
Stock market.
So you get your bells, you get your Neo points, like you get really famous and rich.
Yes.
Most of the stuff that I saw, especially when this all began, was just everyone advertising the bell or the turnip prices.
Look
on
at my
their
turnip
island.
price. Come to my island. You have to pay $20 to get in.
Yes,
though.
and they would hire bodyguards. In other words, players that would stand at the airport and make sure you couldn't get to the shop unless you paid money, either with bells or real world money.
What would they do? Beat you to death or throw tarantulas on you?
Well, it's not that they could punish you. It's that they simply wouldn't let you access the shop itself.
That is funny.
That is very funny.
It's crazy how someone made some kind of business out of this turnip
If
stock
there's a
market.
business to be made, there is somebody to make it.
That is very true.
It's, what are you buying?
So what else has this game done that sets it apart from the previous ones?
Yeah.
Well, terraforming is probably the biggest new development that they've added, which was people have really, really wanted this feature in previous Animal Crossing games, and now you can actually change your island to match what you want. Because in previous titles, you would basically get a randomly generated map for your town, and if it wasn't what you wanted, you would have to constantly reset the game to get the map that you wanted. But now you can basically finesse your island, add every detail you wanted, all the features that you wanted, and make it your own.
Yeah, people have making some crazy islands I've been seeing.
I mean, with how much I play the game, my island still pales in comparison to what other people have made.
You've been playing a lot, so your island's pretty cool. If you're saying that, then people must have some kick-ass islands.
Absolutely, yeah.
And is there a level of customization? Because I've seen people's islands where they have flags and they're wearing clothes, and I'm like, that's not an in-game thing.
Yeah, that's another facet, yeah.
Yeah, so you can create your own flag, you can create your own clothing. You basically draw up your own custom designs, then you wear those clothes. And a lot of people like to make their own creative clothing, their own creative like flags and symbols to really personalize their island, personalize their town, and personalize their character. There's a lot of customization involved, which is the main appeal of the game. But I think the main appeal, aside from that, is the fact that there's things that you can't control, like the passage of time and what each new season, what each new day brings.
Not if you want to get Mr. Rossetti on your ass.
Yeah, there are certain, if you want to reset and time travel, there are people who do that. Personally, I don't, because it's much more rewarding when you have to play on a certain time to get the thing that you want. certain creatures like the fish, the bugs, the things that you have to catch and donate to the museum, they come and go with the seasons and with the time of the day.
Okay. So what about farming?
Farming, yeah, that's a new thing that they've added with the Halloween update at the end of September. Now you can grow pumpkins, which you can eat or you can use for crafting spooky decorations for your town or for your house. And what's really exciting for me is the implications of growing more stuff, especially with the harvest update coming in later this month for Thanksgiving.
Ooh,
that's going to be cool.
Yeah, there's going to be another holiday, and I guarantee you pumpkins and farming other vegetables will be useful for that event.
Sweet. Okay.
So the Halloween event itself, there was a Halloween Day one, right? What happened on that one?
So Halloween night, you basically take the candy that you've hopefully been hoarding since the beginning of October from the Nook shop, and you trade it for your villagers for spooky either recipes or decorations, and then you get lollipops, which you then give to Jack, who's like the main character of the Halloween event. He only appears once a year.
That's scary.
Yes, he only appears once a year, and you give him the special candy, and he gives you like the limited edition decorations that you can only get that night.
So that's another part of Animal Crossing, by the way, is the limited editionness of stuff you can get. So tell us more about how that's a huge part of Animal Crossing.
Yeah, so each season and during certain times, there are certain items that you can only get during that time of the year. The biggest one that's happened so far was back when the game first released, or near the release in the early April. There was the cherry blossoms where the petals would float around the town.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I had a lot of those.
Yeah, you'd have to catch the cherry blossoms, and you also have to collect the recipes from balloons, and you'd have to... That was the only way to get those items in the game, was to get the recipes from the balloons and get them from your villagers, and then craft the items themselves.
There's still balloons, though, at this time of the year, right?
Oh yeah, there's still balloons, but you can't get those recipes anymore. You can only get them in the beginning of April, if you're in the northern hemisphere.
Okay.
I love how this game has that seasonal thing where like it gives you an incentive to play all year long because the game is literally ever changing.
It's cool because it's a single player game that has this kind of MMO aspect of season change, which kind of reminds me of WoW, but especially of RuneScape. Which is really cool.
Yeah, they had the special events every single holiday, and during that short amount of time, they extended it. The longer the game was out, the longer the events lasted. But back in OG RuneScape, you had to be on that day to get the item.
And the items. I remember the Grim Reaper's scythe and the Santa
Halloween
hat.
mask, the Santa hats.
Oh god, the Santa hats.
That was way back in like 2002, and that was the only time they dropped. And to this day in 2020, those are some of the most valuable items. The party hats, the Santa hats.
Very hot ticket stuff, yeah.
Because they're literally ancient. I mean, they released that one day, and that was the only time. And so the ones in circulation now are the ones that have been in circulation since like 2002. It's insane.
So you've never played RuneScape. I'm sorry, Eric. What about? I mean, let's see, Pikmin. I mean, Pikmin 3, right? Have you played it yet? Are you going to play it?
I definitely plan on buying it soon. I really am looking forward to getting to play it because I played it before, but at my friend's house because he had a Wii U.
So is it going to be different from the original?
I've seen some differences that they've advertised. Mainly, they're adding a prologue to the story and an epilogue. Because in the game itself, Olimar, who is the main character of the game thus far, was not actually playable.
And you're a big Pikmin fan, so you know all of the nuances of this Pikmin world.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I was a big OG Pikmin, but like Pikmin 2 I did not play. I refused to play it. So what about Olimar? Like, I'm sorry, Olimar.
Olimar, yes.
You'll get
so
executed.
as when like before Smash Brothers came out.
Yes.
When you went onto the Smash Brothers, so this is before Smash Bros. Came out for the Switch. If you went onto the website and you looked at all of their roster, they had Olimar listed as Olimar.
Oh my gosh.
No one noticed that. Nobody noticed it. I took a screenshot of it though. I still have a screenshot.
As did I, yeah.
How long was it on? Do you know?
Weeks.
It was on for a long time, and no one noticed it. Like I posted it on Reddit, and I was like, "Oh, check it out, people!" Like Olimar, and nobody noticed. And then Nintendo's like, "Oh, good, no one noticed this. Come on, let's change it."
They quickly changed it before,
and then it was gone.
Oh my gosh, that's classic.
That was good times though, Eric. That was good.
That was really good.
But speaking of Super Smash Brothers, Olimar is Eric's character.
Is that your main on?
Yeah, he's been my main since Smash Brothers for Brawl, which the game for Wii, which I prefer that one simply because Olimar had a lot more versatility.
To this day, he still plays Brawl instead of the current one, so yes.
I mean, I understand why people don't like Brawl, because mechanically it's just not a good game.
Luigi being OP as hell.
I know some people still play Brawl because the characters that they enjoyed playing were, like you said, more fun, or
Yep.
their mechanics were better for their playstyle.
Yeah, exactly.
How is he in Ultimate?
Was Olimar like released in Brawl, or was he released in this one?
He was released in Brawl, so
Okay.
Brawl was the first game he was in, and then in the one for Wii U, which nobody played, he was in that one too. And Ultimate came around,
Yeah.
and he's basically the same, but he's still a really good fighter. I still love using him.
Who are your other mains on Ultimate?
I've actually, before Brawl, when I played Melee and Original Smash, Kirby was my main, and I still love playing Kirby.
Yeah, you
I
play
hate
him,
playing against you as Kirby.
Yes, you're such a bitch with Kirby.
I-
Bam!
I have no shame in admitting that. I love using Kirby.
It was so frustrating. I think Kirby is the one that you always beat me with in Smash, because you always get me at the worst time, and suddenly I just see this rock falling upon me, and I'm flying off the map at the worst time. Kirby's such a cool champion, though.
He's a
or
cool champion.
Fighter, I
He's
should say.
really cool, and you've got him. Like you nail him, and literally.
Literally.
I mean, I've been playing him since '99. So, yeah.
Literally since 99. All right, so, okay. Back to Pikmin 3 for a second. You said that Pikmin 2 was your favorite.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people say that Pikmin 3 is the best one.
I think it's the best one.
Have you played through 3 to know, or did you just play a little bit at your friend's house?
I watched my friend play it, and I played a little bit at his house. The only complaint that I've heard people say about the game is that the story is not as long.
Oh, okay.
And
Are
there's not as
they
much to do.
changing that at all?
Well, they're adding a prologue and an epilogue, so they are extending the story to some degree. I don't
Okay.
know by how much. I am looking forward to getting to experience it myself, and
So that's your next step is you're going to get Pikmin 3 and just plow through that, right?
yeah, absolutely. I'm
Okay.
planning on 100%ing that game.
And
That is-
I'm going to extract all that information out of you. I'm going to drain you like a Capri Sun packet.
Well, the one feature that I do want to talk about that I know they're adding for a fact is we can actually both experience that at the same time. They're adding
that
the
was
co-op story mode. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
There
Which
we go.
I thought for sure was going to be in the original Pikmin 3, but they didn't end up including it. And I really, really wanted that in Pikmin 2 as well, because you had two playable captains, but you couldn't play the story mode at the same time.
Tisk tisk.
But with this game, you can now do the story mode co-op. You can have two people
Sweet.
go through the story mode together.
The Switch.
Perfect.
Yes.
It's what the Wii U should have been.
It really is. It really
I'm
is.
so glad more of these games are coming over from the
too.
Wii U, because so many good games trapped on the Wii U.
Speaking of which, Luigi's Mansion, right?
Yes.
So is that ever going to be brought over?
I don't know. The original Luigi's Mansion was remade for the 3DS, but that was at the end of the 3DS's lifespan.
Yeah, what's the point?
So I don't think that many people got the remake.
Because there's technically 3 Luigi's Mansions now, right? Or is there 4?
Yeah, there's 3 Luigi's
So
Mansions.
there's the Luigi Mansion for the Switch, which was awesome.
Yes.
And so, but do you think they're ever going to bring any more of the older Luigi's Mansions to the Switch? Because please, God,
It would be like the perfect trilogy thing where they can sell just like everything else they
Luigi's
resell.
Mansion 3D.
I know, exactly.
All Stars?
Luigi's
Yes.
Mansion 2, that was Dark Moon on the 3DS. I don't think that one's going to get ported because it was a 3DS handheld game.
Yeah, no one wants that.
Yeah, it was very different controls, so putting that onto a Switch, I feel is going to be difficult. But I feel like the original one, given enough time, might get ported over to the Switch. We'll see about that.
I would like to see that because,
I would love it.
man, talk about a game-changing game.
Dude, Luigi's Mansion I was finally able to play Resident Evil but not be scared shitless. So yes.
I mean, I was scared from Luigi's Mansion. That game, I almost didn't finish it because I couldn't get through it. Wasn't that was close to a launch game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it came out on the same time that Pikmin and Super Smash Bros. Melee, which were 2001.
Dude,
so,
GameCube was a freaking banger of a system.
I still to this day I will hear people say GameCube didn't sell that well, and I'm like, how?
GameCube had so many good games.
Dude, you could carry the GameCube. I mean, you could pick it up with a little handle.
It literally
and
had
if
a
you
handle.
If you had cargo pants, early 2000s, you could fit it in one of your pockets. The GameCube was great.
Those would be pretty big cargo pants.
Those
No,
would be
those were
huge.
normal. Those were normal cargo pants. I mean, we're talking 2001 here. You guys have to remember this.
50 pockets.
50
Endless
pockets, like you had big shoes, big pants, and you had spiked hair that was frosted.
and one of those chain wallets.
Yeah, and a chain wallet, and of course, don't forget the big shirt, a big tap out shirt, or
And probably a Razor scooter too.
Of course, yeah, of course. You barely fit on because your shoes are so big.
It's funny how much of this stuff is coming back. Or maybe it's just because I moved to California, like Santa Cruz area, and everyone's still stuck in like this 2000s
It
era.
is so great. Everyone here still has high socks. They have big shoes. They have big shirts, and it's the early 2000s here. If you want to live in the early 2000s, come to Santa Cruz.
It's so funny. So, Eric, is there anything new coming to Nintendo that you're excited about?
In terms of new stuff, everything that I'm excited about is still speculation. There's nothing coming out in the near future. But the trailer for the sequel to Breath of the Wild, that is a game that I am highly anticipating because of all the speculation from that one little teaser trailer alone. I could go on for a long time about all the implications.
Do that.
Yeah, if you go ahead.
Please go on.
So the teaser trailer does show basically a desiccated corpse beneath Hyrule Castle.
Whose desiccated corpse?
So it's not explicitly stated, but the corpse does have red hair and does have Gerudo emblems on it, implying it is Ganondorf, not Ganon, but there's a distinction. Ganondorf is the physical incarnation of Ganon.
Are you sure it's not just like the bastard child of like Zelda or something?
Ganondorf.
Ganondorf. I mean, it's for all I know, they could be doing something very, very different with it. But Ganondorf was not present in Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. So this is really going to change it up to have the villain be a character rather than the Calamity Ganon. Yeah,
an entity.
Yeah, in Breath of the Wild, Ganon was more of like this entity, this, force of nature as opposed to a character himself.
A literal force of nature. You can literally see him like...
I'm embarrassedly going to say that you just taught me the difference between Ganon and Ganondorf because I didn't know the difference.
Seriously?
I didn't. Zelda... I'm admitting this here and now. Zelda is probably one of my biggest gaps in gaming history.
Okay.
The only Zelda game that I've ever seen all the way through was Zelda 1. And it's because I played it recently on my Switch because they added it to the Nintendo's Classics or whatever. So my goal was on the Switch to play through Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Link to the Past, to play through them all. But something about those puzzles, just how Zelda doesn't give you any hints whatsoever. Without a guide, I literally do not know how people get through Zelda games. Like, any of them.
I mean,
any of them.
Link to the Past especially.
God, it is so damn hard.
Link to the Past especially.
It's like, okay, plant this bomb next to this mountain, which has no indication that there's anything behind this thing. Like, someone had to have planted a bomb along every pixel of that mountain to find that. No hints.
Was that ever an issue for you, Eric? Because, I mean, I'm curious.
So, up until now, I've played through almost every single Zelda game multiple times, so I'm familiar with all the puzzles and their solutions. But the one puzzle that still gets me to this day is in Twilight Princess. There is a puzzle where right before you get the Master Sword, where you have to jump across platforms and get these two stone soldiers to stand on certain platforms. But they move when you move, and they move in opposite directions of each other.
Oh, man.
So you have to choose your specific direction very, very carefully, and you have to plan it out very, very carefully. And the first time I did it, it took me like an hour to figure it out.
Yeah, that sounds like some SSX tricky right there. That's hard.
It was literally like a brain teaser. It was very... I mean, it was still fun, but it was very...
And was your brain teased? I mean, did you
my
have a
brain
teased brain?
Was, like, teased to the point where it was just, like, pulled out into a long string.
Your brain was taffy.
Yes, it was taffy.
It was stretched to taffy.
Well, that's what we can expect from Legend of Zelda. That's one thing I love about it, actually, is I've always been a big fan of the puzzles. I've always been a big fan.
And you played the... You got the new one, right? Or the... What is it? Remake. It's a remake, right? The Zelda...
The one I got you for Christmas.
Oh, yeah, Link's Awakening. Yeah, yes. I got that one.
Yes, Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening.
I played more of it than he did.
Did you finish it?
No, I actually haven't finished it.
He didn't even touch it.
I actually did. I played a significant amount of it.
He lightly caressed the cartridge.
Ooh, this is getting spicy.
He lightly caressed the cartridge. And then I was like, well, are you not going to play anymore? Oh, I think I'm good for now. Okay, so I started playing it. And I was like, hey, do you want to play? No. Do you want to play? No.
I mean, I played through several dungeons.
Several dungeons.
Yes.
It's funny because a lot of people had different opinions on this. I feel like a lot of people had the same issue where they played through it and then they just kind of stopped halfway through. And I don't know if it's because, it's literally a remake of the old game, except it's just prettier and they added a few new things.
So my opinion being it's an excellent remake.
Okay.
What's your opinion, Eric?
So, stylistically, it definitely adds a lot more to the game than what the original had, but in terms of basic gameplay, it's very, very similar. It's almost the exact same game.
It's dated.
Yes.
That's the thing that I heard, is that even though it's a remake and everything looks beautiful, some of the puzzles were still outdated. Like,
They are very dated.
they should have been updated somewhat to make them feel a little less. When did that game originally come out?
I think 1990.
Yeah, it's old.
I mean, you have to realize the original game had some aspects, though, that they removed that people don't really appreciate. Like, what was it? Every time you walked in front of a rock or something, the game would stop you and prompt you that there's a rock in your way.
Did it really?
They removed that. Like,
Thank God.
There's a lot of quality of life things that they improved in this game. So you guys have to you have to realize that. And I mean, when did you stop, Eric? Like, what was the last dungeon you did?
I mean, it's, to be quite frank, it's been so long that I don't remember.
Well, why did you stop?
I honestly can't give a good answer.
Was it
wasn't a
Brawl?
bad
It was
game.
probably Animal Crossing,
You
actually.
stopped. No, he stopped for Brawl. I guarantee you. Like, Brawl was like squealing at him from its case.
I haven't started replaying Brawl since recently, like very recently.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So, what do you think? I mean, what game are you looking forward to now?
The closest game that I'm looking forward to now is simply the re-release of Pikmin 3, like
The
the Pikmin 3
re-release.
Deluxe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're gonna snap that up, right?
I absolutely will. I know it's out now, but I'm just waiting until I can actually buy it.
You
but
like
yeah.
it to be a little well done before you pull it off the griddle, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
So for the last topic, Nintendo-wise, we have to talk about it because it's one of your favorite franchises.
Yeah.
Tell us about Pokemon. Tell us your Pokemon history, how you found to love it, and what you
And
love about
about
today.
the new one.
So I started with I'm one of the people who didn't start with the very first generation. I started with the second generation, Gold and Silver. I got Pokemon Gold. My sister got Pokemon Crystal, and we played through that, and that was really, really fun. I got really, really into it. And then the next generation comes along, Generation 3, which is still my favorite to this day. I am obsessed with Generation 3. That is the best Pokemon game in my opinion. That was Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. I had both Sapphire and Emerald, and I played through those games so many times I've lost count. The only generation I did not play was Generation 5, which was Black and White, because I didn't have a DS at the time. But I played Generation 6, Generation 7, which was Sun and Moon, and then I played the most recent one, Generation 8, Sword and Shield on the Switch.
Which you've been loving. I've definitely heard you enjoying it a lot.
Yeah, because the recent update came out, the Crown Tundra.
Yes.
There's a
Ooh.
lot more to do in that update, especially in regards to all the legendary Pokemon you can now catch, adding a bunch more to the Pokédex, because the main complaint when the game first came out was it slashed the Pokédex in half, and
Yeah,
That was a big deal.
they got
yeah.
rid of like a lot of Pokemon.
There-
Yes,
were-
including Trubbish.
there were a lot of Thanos memes, you snap and like half the Pokemon are gone, but
Yes.
they brought some of those who were gone now are now back.
Thank God they didn't slash Purloin, because I mean that would have been a horrible loss.
That would have been a
There
loss.
would have been rioting in the streets.
I mean,
absolutely.
if you couldn't be Purloin, like I don't know what I would do. Like Purloin,
What's special about this new game? What did it bring to the table?
besides the British setting.
So the game it has an open wild area now, and now you can encounter Pokemon as opposed to simply running through the grass and hoping you get what you want. You can see the Pokemon as they move in the route and encounter them that way, so you know what you're going to encounter.
Think of
before
like the
you
original
encounter
Star
it.
Ocean, where you saw them walking on the map, and if you bumped into them, you went to an encounter.
Man, I love games that do that. Even Chrono Trigger, we talked about it in our first episode. You could see all the monsters. There was no surprises. There's no random encounters. The screen doesn't suddenly dissolve or
Final
shatter.
Fantasy.
AKA almost every single Final Fantasy. So I'm glad to hear that they added this to Pokemon,
Yeah.
because that's one of the big reasons I never got through Pokemon, is because I'm spending half my time getting stuck in these random encounters, getting attacked by Zubats in the cave, and I just want to get out of the cave, stop attacking these Zubats.
Good old Zubats.
Classic Zubat.
So
yeah.
so this game, the new game is great. Like you like it a lot.
I do think that it does have some failures in regards to previous generations. It
For
has
one
less...
thing I know is the shinies.
Well, the shinies, they've actually somewhat streamlined it a bit, because you don't need the whole Pokédex in order to get the shiny charm, which helps you find more.
Are you speaking of this from someone who has a shiny?
I do not. I have played the game a lot with the shiny charm,
How many
shiny
hours?
hunting religiously, and
How many hours?
I have yet to encounter a single shiny in
Not
the
How
game.
many
One.
hours?
Probably close to 80.
And you haven't encountered a single shiny, not even once, not even lost.
So the encounter rate, I believe, in a random encounter is about 1 in 1,300 something. Your odds of finding a shiny. With the Pumpkaboo chaining that I've been doing relentlessly, my odds are about 1 in 500. I am at over 2,000 encounters and have not found a single one.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
So something is not so shiny about Eric's world in this case.
No, it's not. It's really disappointing.
Imagine going to, I don't know how it works, but you like the inventory setting. It's like, oops, I didn't turn it on. Or do you need, what was it? Is it an item that you need?
So it's not like you need the item, but the shiny charm, if you complete the Galar Pokédex, you catch 400 Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
You get the shiny charm, which increases the rate of finding a shiny. And then on top of that, if you chain encounter a certain number of Pokemon a certain number of times, in this case you have to get to 500 encounters, it basically reduces the encounter, or rather increases the encounter rate even more.
So you're at 2,000 plus, so why? Why haven't you encountered a shiny?
It all boils down to luck, and if you watch videos of people who do this, you can understand why, because some people will chain for hours, who do random encounters for hours and not get any luck, and then there are people who do it like maybe 10 or 20 encounters, and they get exactly what they want, and their reaction is priceless.
But 2,000, I mean, you should have encountered one 4 times over. Like, what happened?
It all comes down to probability.
Did you just step on like a lucky cricket or something? Or did you eat the lucky peach? Like, what happened?
I mean, I wish I could give you a good answer, but it all boils down to luck. And
straight up 2020 bad luck right there.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
what's the main Pokemon you wish you had in this game?
The Pokemon that I really wish I had was actually just added in the recent update.
Sweet.
It's a very obscure Pokemon named Relicanth. The only reason why I like this Pokemon, because I admit it's not very good in battle, is because way back when I first had Sapphire, I had a lot of trouble beating the Elite Four, so I went around looking for new Pokemon to catch, new Pokemon out of my team, and I encountered a Pokemon named Relicanth, which is very, very rare. You have to find it, swimming through the seaweed underwater.
I'm sure Relicanth, relic, it's probably something like
Yes,
that.
Probably something relic related.
Yes, it's basically based on a Coelacanth.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so that's the pun on its name, Relicanth Coelacanth.
Totally, dude, yeah.
And I, for whatever reason, even though it wasn't an ice type, I went ahead and taught it Blizzard. And a Relicanth knowing Blizzard somehow was able to sweep one of the Dragon Elite Four member and just totally destroy him. And after that, I was able to beat Steven, the champion.
Sweet. Okay, so have you got him in the new game yet?
Not yet, but I will soon, hopefully.
You're sniffing out for him.
Yeah, I'm sniffing out for Relicanth.
Cool. So I don't know about you, but the unknown was my thing. Like I used to cosplay as them and everything. I mean, are the unknown in the game? Like, do you want to be my cosplay buddy?
I don't know if the unknown are in the game yet. I actually haven't looked at the full list of Pokemon re-added in the latest update.
How many did they add?
I believe it's 100 per update. So the last update was the Isle of Armor.
So how many updates? So that 100 per? So how many?
So that would be, there's only 2 updates. So that would be 200 total.
That's a lot of Pokemon.
That is a lot, but that would still mean there's about 200 missing.
Okay, so fair enough. So no unknown potentially. What about Trubbish? Because I mean, I'm trash. So I like to cosplay as Trubbish too.
Trubbish is in the game. Yes.
He is. Good.
Yes.
Have you caught him?
Good.
I have caught Trubbish, yes.
Good.
We need to make sure you get a shiny Trubbish by next week.
I want a shiny Trubbish.
Updates.
I want a shiny Purloin.
So funny enough, my friend actually, when he had Black and White, he randomly encountered a shiny Trubbish at full odds. That is 1 in 8,192
Oh my
chance.
God.
He randomly encountered a shiny Trubbish.
I want that to be me.
God
I want a
tier.
shiny Trubbish. I want to be shiny trash.
It's literally a blue trash bag as opposed to a green trash bag.
Sweet.
Yes.
So
Imagine being a Nintendo or the Pokemon company and thinking this is a great idea.
A sentient trash bag.
guys, we need a new Pokemon. What should we do? And then in the background you hear this crinkling, and then you hear the sound of a door open in the wheel of a cart, and you see like the cleaning lady, and then she like lifts a bag out of the trash can, and everyone's like, trash can, Trubbish. Well, that's what we need.
Well, in Generation 6, they actually added a Pokemon that's literally a keychain, like a key ring that jingles.
Thank God.
A sentient key ring. His name is Klefki.
His name is Klefki.
Klefki, yes.
Klefki. Thank God. I'm so glad that these new generations have stopped using like creative things and just started using household objects. Like the antique teapot. You can have a
Yes.
reproduction or a real one. It depends if it has the mark on the bottom.
Which you can't see when you encounter it. You have to actually catch it first and see if it's a real one.
So you have to waste your time catching a reproduction. It's like going to a store and buying something and realizing it's a reproduction. Like, oh, are these Nikes real? No, they're reproduction, but you're not going to find out until you buy them, bitch.
Oh my god. Pokemon has just... I used to be a huge Pokemon fan when I was a kid. I watched the show. I watched them multiple times. I had the Pokemon... the funny thing is, as big as a Pokemon fan I was, I never had the games. The only game I had was Pokemon Snap. and I played Pokemon Stadium, I think, at a friend's house.
Pokemon Stadium and Snap were good.
In Snap wait, did it come back yet?
Wait, it's coming back.
It is coming back to the Switch. Yeah, they are remaking. It's not a remake. It's a brand new game.
Yeah.
What do you know about it?
All I know, they've only shown one trailer, and there's no release date, but it looks pretty solid.
Did you get your Pikachu camera out? Are you gonna ready to snap?
Oh, yeah,
I am
Hey
ready
You
to snap.
Pikachu.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that Pokemon Snap is coming back because I think it's such a great game for the Nintendo Switch platform because one, the Switch is portable, which makes it even more fun, and it's got a lot going on in the Switch, right? They've got like some what do you call it? The gyroscope in there.
Oh yeah.
They got all kind of cool little gadgets. I mean, the Joy-Cons themselves.
I wonder what they're going to add for it, because if it's going to be Pokemon Snap, I wonder if they're going to add some kind of attachment for a camera or something like that.
I'm curious what they can just do so much. The only thing I know is that it is sticking to the old on rails. It's not going to be like, oh, go everywhere and take pictures. It's still going to follow the on rails.
Okay, so no Pokemon Go with it. Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be. I mean, I'm excited. It was one of my favorite things. I'm so glad. I can't believe it took this long to bring it back because it's such a fun. I just love that title.
I mean, pretty much like all people, we're all childhood Pokemon fans.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, just like Garrett, I had all the VHS tapes. I had every episode on VHS tape, and I used to rewatch it all the time.
Did you watch the shows, Eric?
Yeah, I was a big fan of the show as a kid. Yeah.
Did you go to like movies and everything too?
Unfortunately, no. I didn't really go to the movies that much.
Man,
no.
I'm surprised.
That's one of my biggest movie memories is going to like Pokemon 2000 or whatever.
I remember waiting
called.
in line for like the movie premieres, and I had the cards from them. And
I had this weird story where like my grandpa took me and we like walked there from my house. It was like a weird 2-mile walk to the movie theater. It's like, I don't know.
Sounds like a Twilight Zone episode.
It's one of those weird things I just remember so vividly because I was so excited. I'm like, oh my god, Pokemon is coming to the theaters. Like it's this big now. And it was a good movie. I mean, I like those.
I remember seeing the latest one they released where Pikachu talked to the end and it sucked ass.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That one was awesome. Like, I remember everyone in the theater collectively gasping and like getting angry when Pikachu was like, "I love you, Ash." That was one of the creepiest moments of my life.
Pikachu is not supposed to talk. I'm sorry.
Pikachu confessing his love for Ash was something I did not need to see Rule 34 on a movie.
Unless Detective Pikachu.
So
then Pikachu can talk.
Yes, I'm speaking confessing love. He was like, "I love you, Ash." Like, that was creepy. I did not need to see like Pikachu gussy up to Ash and simp over him. So moving on past that, I think there's one more Pokemon game coming out, right? I mean, you would know, Eric.
Yeah, this is somewhat controversial too, only because people were expecting a completely different game. Pokemon Unite. It's a Pokemon MOBA.
Oh yeah.
Made in cooperation with Tencent, which also makes a lot of other MOBA games.
Which ones have they made?
I know they recently bought League of Legends. They didn't make it, but they did buy it.
They bought League.
They bought Riot.
Are they a Japanese company?
They're a Chinese company.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Man, Tencent's got some money if they bought Riot.
That's a dramatic move. Okay.
So it's basically Pokemon dipping their toes into like more mobile gaming. The sort of mobile games that are becoming really, really popular right now.
Interesting.
I'm kind of surprised to see like Japan and China skipping down the Pokemon.
Yeah, that was very surprising.
That's a dramatic
Nintendo
move.
Mixing with the mobile gaming is a fairly new thing. Even with Pokemon Go coming out 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was dramatic.
that was a dramatic change, but it was also something that they didn't really expand upon until recently. They've made some like small, cheap mobile games recently, but this is something big. It's coming to both mobile and Switch.
So what do you think is going to happen with this Unite game?
I don't know if it's going to take off the way people are hoping it will.
Oh yeah?
It all depends on whether or not people actually like it, because I know MOBA competitive games are really, really popular right now.
Oh yeah.
Whether they're MOBA or not, they're still very popular.
I'm still waiting for Mafia Wars to come back.
We need Mafia Wars.
Yeah.
35 or whatever version they're on.
Or Farmville Wars. Like I'd be okay with that too. Zynga, shout out.
Oh man, I don't know if people are gonna play this. I hate to say it, but there's like this saturation thing, and with MOBAs and with battle royales, it's like everyone's still doing them. It's like you might get a small little fan base, but like, are you really gonna beat Dota or League of Legends?
I think you might be right, Garrett, because I think Pokemon Go came out at the time when it was like, ooh, this is a cool, unique thing with Pokemon, and everyone was kind of ready for Pokemon. And I think now a new Pokemon game in the MOBA style is gonna be maybe not well received. I mean, what do you think, Eric?
Well, I'm hesitant. I'm sort of split on the issue. It's something that could be fun, potentially popular, potentially something which becomes.
I mean, is it something you would play? Like, are you gonna want it?
I think I'll give it a try when it comes out, yeah.
Okay.
But then there's other, ventures into different territories. Pokken Tournament, which is Pokemon but Tekken, basically.
What?
That was a game that came out a little while ago. It was released initially on the Wii U, and then it was ported over to the Switch.
Okay.
It did have some popularity, but it wasn't really well received.
Yeah, that one went right over my head, so I didn't even know about it.
It's a Pokemon fighting game?
Yeah, it's a Pokemon fighting game.
It's Pokemon with Tekken.
It's
Yeah.
basically Pokemon in the style of Tekken.
That's cool. I didn't even know.
It's not a bad game from
Did
what
you
I've
play it?
heard. I haven't played it, no.
Okay.
But it is a fun game from what I've heard, but it just never became super popular within the fighting game community.
Okay. I guess Pokemon and fighting game fans are not quite...
No, Pokemon.
Arm
The
in
thing
arm.
is, Pokemon is a very, very different game.
Yeah.
The fighting that you do in the standard Pokemon games is all about planning and strategy. It's turn based.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whereas in fighting games, it's all quick movements.
It's who's ever moving the fast doing the first bicycle
yeah,
kick.
basically doing the bicycle kicks, the combos. That's
Your soul is mine.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the only place I've seen Pokemon fighting like that are in Smash.
Yeah.
You got Ultimate got a lot of Pokemon in there
They
now.
got a lot. They put a lot.
And it almost has as many as the Fire Emblem characters now.
And there's
yeah.
a lot.
Oh.
That's a lot of potential for
Fire
Rule
Emblem is
34.
basically carrying Smash Brothers right now.
It's
so
like
we'll see.
half the roster.
But it's not
Yes.
carrying it. It's forcing it because everyone. I don't want Fire Emblem characters. I didn't want Steve, but I'd rather him than Fire Emblem.
Poor Steve. Everyone wants Steve.
I mean,
everyone was kind of hoping Steve
I'm
would
just
be
not a
added,
Minecraft
yes.
guy. I'm not a Minecraft guy, so shoot me. But I prefer him over more Fire Emblem characters. Please, no more.
So to finish this off, I just want to ask, since we're on the topic of Smash Bros, who do you want to see in Smash?
Yeah, who's next? Who do you want to see?
Jeez.
Who's like your dream?
Yeah.
My dream would actually be more Pikmin characters because of course I really love Pikmin, but
Who
it's
the
kind of
hell
hard.
else from Pikmin would you want to see?
Well, there's the other captains. There's there's aside from Olimar, there's Louis, and then there's the president, and then in Pikmin 3, I know there's more characters that are added as well.
Do you want to see the president? Isn't he short and round?
They're all short and round. Ben. They're all short and round.
I guess yeah. I guess that would be the case.
But I mean there's other monsters too.
Because you want it to be a character you're ready to see Rule 34 about. You want to see some fan art because that's what you're going to get when you add it to Smash.
I have unfortunately seen it, and I wish I could scrub it.
You're gonna get literal Smash art from Smash.
Yes,
And we're
literal Smash art,
speaking
yes.
adult terms of smashing because yeah.
Yes.
So which character? I mean, so you want to see a Pikmin character. So which one is the Pikmin character you want to
I
see?
think if there would be anyone, it would be Louis, because aside from Olimar, Louis is the most well-known of the Hokatadian captains.
And you really want to see what's under the suit, right?
I don't think that's really on my top priority, no. That's not something that I really want to see or care to see. I would like to see, because he's a very different character from Olimar in terms of his personality. He's more lazy, but yet he's also more interested in the culinary aspect of the creatures on the planet. As
The
opposed to
culinary.
science.
Did he eat the Pikmin?
Not the Pikmin, but he did in the second game. He would eat the monsters that you find.
The Bulborbs.
The Bulborbs and all the creatures. He would come up with recipes for how to cook them and eat
Ever
them.
since I was a kid, I wanted to know what a Bulborb tastes like. They looked like little bean bags to me, so I wondered if they had like a chewy or crunchy. I mean, I wanted to know.
Well, you
So-
can ask Louis, apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Louis, he would...
So he was introduced in the second game,
Yeah,
correct?
he was introduced in the second game. He would cook everything that Olimar would bring to the ship. Because there was a Piclopedia list of not only the treasures that you could find, but all of the monsters, all the plants, all the flora and fauna of the planet.
Sweet. Okay. So, I mean, did you have to take chunks of them off because the monsters are big?
Basically, anytime you felled a monster, anytime you killed them, that would be enough to get a sample, I guess.
And Louis would chime in, the professor, oh, Luigi, jump in.
Basically, in the
Bring me that food!
In the Piclopedia section, you could look at both Olimar's scientific notes of the creature's behavior, their, what they look like, their biology.
And then Louis'
and then
it's a
Louis'
menu.
notes would be Louis is it's a menu, it's delicious.
It's a menu!
Yes, and I think more interestingly, and this is somewhat of a Pikmin 2 spoiler, but the, quote, final boss, and I say quote because you can beat them in any order, but the most difficult boss of the game is the one where you have to rescue Louis from the Titan Dweevil, which is this giant spider-like creature. And after you rescue him, it's somewhat dubious as to whether the Titan Dweevil was controlling him or he was controlling the Titan Dweevil.
Ooh.
Yes, it's left up to interpretation, who was really in charge.
That's neat. I
And
like
considering
that.
the Titan Dweevil used weapons, actual mechanical weapons, that was a very interesting boss fight and a very interesting little reveal of what was Louis' real intentions.
So you're telling me the final boss wasn't like the bird snake thing again? Like
No, there were the reason why I love Pikmin 2 is there were many bosses. There were like over a dozen bosses, and
I remember
each
that
one
being
was
a
unique
classic.
and
That was my
interesting.
favorite boss. Was the bird snake.
The bird, the snagrets, yeah.
Snagrets, that was
snagrets.
it.
There were two different types of snagrets. There's the burrowing ones, and there's the pileated snagrets, which can hop and jump around.
Ooh.
Those are really fun. I remember the first time I fought one, I was like, oh, this will be fun, and then it got out of the ground and started walking.
Yes!
And screamed.
Pikmin is awesome.
It really is.
It's an awesome game.
It's such a creative game. I'm so glad it exists.
It's a great franchise, yeah.
I wish it got more attention, because the reason why it's so long now between Pikmin games is because they don't sell very well.
Yeah.
They're not popular.
And I'm always really curious about the world of Pikmin. Like, what is this planet that they're on? Is it Earth?
It is Earth.
It's post-apocalyptic, correct?
I don't know.
Because,
if
I mean,
that's
are there
confirmed.
humans? Like, are we gonna have to fight some, like neckbeards and stuff like that?
I
Are there
don't
gonna be
know.
humans?
But it is Earth, and the treasures you collect are literal small
Artifacts,
items. Yeah,
yeah.
there's like, I remember the first treasure you get is literally a Duracell battery.
So how
in Pikmin 2.
big is Olimar then?
He's about an inch. They actually go quite into detail in the Pikmin booklet.
Do
He's
they?
about an inch tall. They compare him to like the size of a GameCube controller,
Oh,
and they do
yeah.
all the size comparisons.
I remember
of
that
Olimar
now,
and
yeah.
the Pikmin, yeah.
So, okay, I mean, it's such a weird world. Like, I want to know more about it because what are the
No.
Bulborbs? Like, are Bulborbs like basically what the hell are they
I mean,
compared to humans?
the creatures in the world are definitely not anything like any creatures we have here on Earth, like now. I mean, there are many that resemble like bugs or like birds or creatures, but
you're right.
they're so far removed from the things that we have on Earth that they're only vaguely resemble.
I want to fight. I want to fight some Earthlings. I want to fight some humans. That's what I want to see.
I
you
think that would be
imagine?
like the final.
Like, I want some
boss.
Shadow of the Colossus. Like, I want some like Attack on Titan.
You gotta spend like 30 minutes climbing up the human as Olimar and using Pikmin like to distract him as
That
you're
would be-
climbing up.
That would be cool. Though. I wonder. I've never actually looked it up. I wonder if that's an idea for them to add. I don't know.
There is, so because Pikmin's lore is so vague, there are a lot of speculation videos about like what is what, because there's a lot of enemies that don't make sense in the game either. Like they're not anything. The biggest example would be the wraiths. There are these like solid, like almost plasm-like wraiths in the game.
Oh, those are the friendly things, right? You can like throw like.
No, they're bosses. In Pikmin
Oh.
2, there was the water wraith, which
What are those little floating like blub things?
oh the jellyfish.
Okay.
Yeah. There's the jellyfish, and then there's the wraiths. I believe there's a wraith. I haven't played through the whole game, but I believe there's a wraith boss in Pikmin 3 as well.
Okay. We're gonna have another like Pikmin interview when you
yeah,
play 3.
Yes.
I gotta hear what's in store. with
Either I'm
3.
gonna play it or you're gonna play it because I really want to know more about Pikmin.
As I said, we can both play it at the same time now. So
We will probably be co-oping Pikmin then.
Yeah.
I'm
Ooh.
down for that, dude.
Cool. We can look forward to that next time.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean that's a lot of cool Nintendo stuff. I mean, really, I'm glad we could talk about all that.
Yeah, thanks for giving us all that info on
Yeah, Eric,
Yeah,
this
absolutely,
was a fun interview. I'm really glad you could come in here because we don't play that many Nintendo games lately.
I mean, I'm really glad that I could be part of this and could contribute because it's honestly a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll have to have you back. Before we go though, Ben, I gotta know, who do you want in Smash?
Well, that's an easy one.
What?
I want Blinks.
Blinks?
I want Blinks the time recorder. I want him in there. I want him with his little vacuum time gun, and I want him with his little shoes and his little early 2000s. You know, that or Bubsby. You know,
We need Blinks. Or Knack.
or oh my god, Knack.
Could you imagine Knack?
They call him Knack.
Okay.
No. So, but really, Blinks would be actually cool. I'm not gonna say I don't want Blinks, but that's a little bit of a joke. What would be really cool to see would be Spyro. I know people have been wanting to see Spyro.
That would be good, actually.
I would be really down to see Spyro. I don't know if that's possible or not, but I would be down to see him. Or I'd be down to see Crash.
That, both of those make a lot of sense because they both got those, the remasters.
Yep.
Or, yeah, the remasters.
I mean, they're in the public eye again. They're ready to be there.
And they were both ported to not ported, but they were both available on the Switch.
Exactly.
And so we're seeing non-Nintendo characters appear in Smash Ultimate, and it's because that they're officially available on Nintendo, like Steve from Minecraft. Who else is in Smash now that's not from Nintendo World?
There's a long list of
we got
characters
Snake.
now.
We have-
Snake,
we've
but
had
that was
Snake.
from way back
Yeah,
in Brawl. That's Snake and Sonic were the first characters that weren't Nintendo titles.
Sonic is
introduced.
still a pretty dramatic addition though. Like
That was
Yes.
cool.
yeah.
So I think there should be at least another PlayStation character because I think Snake is the only PlayStation.
It would be really cool to see Spyro or Crash. I mean, or I just want to see some older characters. Like it was cool to see Steve. Steve is cool, but I get he's what all the kids want to see. But like I'd love to see like maybe even Gex or Croc.
What about Rayman?
Or Rayman, dude.
My vote is for Rayman.
Actually,
because
that's a great one.
Because Rayman was like Rayman Legends, I think, is
he would
on...
translate really well because he's so weird.
Yeah, he has the floating fists. He can punch, and they would be like distance. I would be surprised if we don't get Rayman. I bet it's in his pack.
Garrett coming in with the hot ones, yeah.
They would make the most sense because he has the skill set for it.
And just imagine what art we would see from him too. Like that would be great. Those floating fists. I mean, who knows where this could go?
He's smashing right through Steve's block head.
Hey, if only. I mean, I would be okay with that actually. If I'd be okay with that. Another thing that'd be kind of cool though, Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Where's Sora?
Either Sora, Donald or Goofy, which a little too dangerous there at Disney.
Yeah.
Or the Heartless. Like, we could get a Heartless character or we could get a Nobody. Could you imagine, like, the Nobodies coming wiggling in there like spaghetti? I'd be down for that.
It would be cool to have some of the... Or, you know how some of the Smash characters have different versions?
Yes.
You could either play as, like, a Heartless or a Nobody or something like that.
And if they throw Sora in there, like, he's got plenty of versions of him. He's got, like, the dark one from the new game. I mean, you could even do a... What's his name from the blonde Sora?
Roxas.
Roxas, that's it. Yeah, Sora. Oh, in your heart, Sora Roxas. Yeah, I mean, sure. Sora would be a cool character.
I think Sora would be... Well, the tough thing is Sora's not on the Switch.
Yeah.
Actually, wait. I think the Kingdom Hearts rhythm game is coming to the Switch.
So,
and if that's the case, then they have the ability to put
Sora would be cool. I'd actually say the characters I actually legitimately want to see would be Sora, Blinks, Spyro, or Crash. Like any from that lot would make me happy as a damn clam.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'm gonna bet on Rayman.
I think Rayman's a good suggestion. I think that would be really good.
I think that has to come.
So, what do you think, Eric? Like before we leave and close out, what do you think? What would be the character you think?
I honestly think Spyro is a very likely candidate. He's a very popular video game character, which has not already been represented in the game. The problem is there's a lot of third-party characters which are being represented as either assist trophies or as spirits.
Yes.
Which, if they're in the game as that probably means they won't be introduced as actual fighters.
So would you want Spyro? Would you be happy with Spyro?
I have, because even though I haven't ventured much outside of Nintendo games, I did play some Spyro as a kid.
Cool.
So
dude.
I do have some fond memories of playing Spyro.
So we have 2 for Spyro, 1 for Rayman, potentially.
I mean, I would be more than happy to see Spyro too. I mean, that's one of my first gaming experiences with Spyro.
We got a pretty good little scroll of potentials there. I'd be stoked with any of those.
Yeah, because think about it.
Rayman too. I haven't played a Rayman game in ages.
If you haven't played Rayman Legends, I highly recommend it.
I would definitely take that recommendation.
It's such a fun game. It's one of those level by level ones, and you just have to.
Rayman's classic. One other one though that just crossed my mind: Toe Jam and Earl.
Oh my gosh.
We've got the Ice Climbers. We got 2 guys who play together. How about Toe Jam and Earl? What would that be in Smash?
I never even played those games. Did you?
I did play them. I never finished them because they're hard as hell. You have to catch the bratty little humans in your jars and stop them from invading your planet, all while doing 90s stuff and wearing 90s sneakers. But I
wouldn't even be surprised because Nintendo they pull out these characters. I mean, there's definitely been characters.
That's an extremely classic one, though. I would be blown away if they did Toe Jam and Earl, but I would be happy. That would be cool.
Well, I guess we'll have to see because I think there's still 3 more fighters in the newest fighter pack, right?
There's actually 4.
There's 4 more?
4 more to come.
Okay,
yes.
So we have a chance for all of our characters to appear.
I am very excited, so I'm hoping we'll see some cool stuff.
Let us know who you think should be in the next fighter pack.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what everyone else thinks because there's a lot of characters to choose from. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, let us know.
Drop us a comment, or even if you want to be old school, send us an email. We got our email at podoutofmana@gmail.com.
Yeah, or send us a DM on Twitter or Instagram. Again, that's podoutofmana. And yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, just drop it in the comments.
Drop it in the comments.
We'll bring it up next episode, and we'll shout you out. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Eric, thank you so much for joining us again this week.
We really appreciate you being here so we could drain all of your knowledge like a Metroid on Samus's brain.
Yes, thank you for having me, yes.
We'll definitely have to have you back because I think Nintendo, they don't announce much out in advance, but I think by the end of the year, we're going to have some big announcements.
And Eric's got his fingers on that lifeline, so we'll find out from him.
Yes.
So thank you again for joining us. You've been listening to Out of Mana. Catch us every Wednesday at 3 a.m. Pacific time. And you can find us on any of your favorite podcast platforms or YouTube now.
And keep an eye out for any spoiler casts we do.
That is true. Hades is on the way.